Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about Richie Grant out of Central Florida is the man himself, the football encyclopedia, a man who I was bragging on just yesterday when they asked me, who's your team? And I was like, I always ask Vincent Turner to tell me who my team is because I don't know who my team is. I need to know from the man himself, from the source, Vincent Turner. How's it going, Mr. Turner?
How you doing, Mr. Jeremiah Long? Thank you for the kind words this morning, sir.
Absolutely. Well, today we've got an amazing NFL draft prospect. It's Richie Grant out of Central Florida. So, Mr. Turner, please tell us, what is it about Richie Grant, besides the obvious from this photo, that makes him such a special player? And what do you think he's going to do in the NFL draft?
I'm going to tell you about Richie Grant. First of all, I love the young man. I think he's one of the most versatile safeties that's coming into this year's 2021 NFL draft. When you look at him, he's a guy that's 5'11", about 200 pounds, and plus, he's out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Now, I'm going to tell you about Fort Walton Beach, Florida. It's where the Air Force Base is, one of the best in the country, and that's where my father did his time back in the 1950s. Then Fort Walton is known for other great athletes that Mr. Grant is going to carry on the torch. Remember Danny Wolfham, that played quarterback from the University of Florida? He's for Fort Walton Beach. Remember E.G. Green, wide receiver out of Florida State? He's for Fort Walton Beach. Remember this receiver? He was a very good football player at the University of Alabama by the name of D.J. Hall. He's out of Fort Walton Beach. And Mr. Glenn Coffey, another great football player that came out of Fort Walton Beach that went to the University of Alabama. So let me get to Mr. Grant. When you talk about the safety position, this young man has it all. Talking about sideline to sideline speed, cover range. He can play the third. He's very athletic. And most of all, his versatility in pass coverage. He can play in the slot, cover a slot receiver. He can play the tight end. He can cover the tight end. And most of all, he's a tremendous tackler, very explosive. Now, if you're thinking about looking at him, and probably I'm thinking he's going to be the first safety taken in this year's draft, all you got to do is go back to the game film. Here locally in the Metro Atlanta area, when they played Georgia Tech this past September, he had 10 tackles. Then go to the Cincinnati game. He had 16 tackles this season. Then look at his production. Oh, man. This is what you like about when you got a free safety that can do it all. Production, 290 tackles for his career. Let me repeat that. 290 tackles. Then he's got 11 tackles, puts 5 for losses. Then that's what I like about him. He's one of the best cover safeties when you're talking about ball skills. In his career, he defended 17 passes, but he also had 10 interceptions. Now let me take you back. His game reminds me a little bit of old school. Remember Willie Wood that played on the Green Bay Packers, 2 Super Bowl teams back in 1966 and 1967. He was a versatile safety. Then think about Ken Houston. They went to Perry View. They had an outstanding career with the Washington Redskins, who was a guy that was real tough in the box. Then I'm going to throw you a Metro Atlanta guy. Jake Scott was very versatile. Mr. Reggie Gaddis got some of his cover skills. Then think about Donnie Shell from a hitting perspective. The power Donnie Shell brought. Well, you got Mr. Richie Grant going there. Then if you want to talk about new school, oh, man, he got a little bit of Ed Reed in him. He got a little bit of Nolan Cromwell. He got a little bit of my man, who I think was the best safety to play on this level in college and pro, the man out of Chesapeake, Virginia, Kenny Easley, UCLA and Seattle Seahawks. And then he got a little more skill level. And if I really had to say 3 guys that he really reminds me of, Jeremiah, you know, we from the great state of Tennessee, only 6 million people. He reminds me a little bit of Eric Berry, who's Metro Atlanta finest out of Creekside. They had a real great career with the Kansas City Chiefs. Then 2 guys that gone to glory. But, boy, I used to love their game, man. First of all, I'm going to start with a guy that I saw play in 1984. He was a first-team All-American. I saw him play in the Rose Bowl, had 2 interceptions. He was a tremendous safety. He went to glory, unfortunately, over a drug overdose. That was Don Rogers, phenomenal football player. Then another guy who went to glory at the age of 31 with stomach cancer, but he was a tremendous, I loved him. And Bill Belichick had him over there in Cleveland. My man, Mr. Eric Turner. So when you look at Richie Grant, I get excited about everything about the young man. You look at his production, you look overall, look at his skill level. Like I said, explosive acceleration, athletic, but most of all, he's very versatile. And he's a guy that could come down in the box, play the run. He's a guy you could put him in the slot. You could put him in the third of the field. And when anybody knows about the safety position, when you have him on the third, when that ball is in the air, can he get to the football? Richie Grant is, in my opinion, the best safety in the 2021 NFL draft.
Ooh, that's what's up. And when you're talking about Eric Berry too, this particular shot, it's not exactly the same story, but it reminds me of Eric Berry when him and Tim Tebow went like head to head in slow motion across every TV in America, and it was two powerhouse. What they call it is an immovable object meets an unstoppable force.
Yes, sir.
That seems like when I see Richie Grant here, that looks like the same type of player. He's got that gumption. He wants to put people he doesn't want to just stop them. He wants to push them back. And that sounds like an amazing player. So what's your final word on Richie Grant?
Well, one thing about Richie Grant, he's a safety that can do it all, man. Mm-hmm. Like I said, with all the great ones that's been at this safety position, has played at a high level. I'm going to throw some more names out there. Dan Woodson, Arizona State, by way of the Dallas Cowboys. Cornell Lake, another UCLA guy. Pittsburgh Steelers. All these guys had that accountability. They can play the pass or they can play the run. And when you look at Mr. Richie Grant, look at the game film. He's a guy, when you got a safety like that, man, you're going to have a real good defense. He can play all over the field. I mean, just look at his film, explosive acceleration when the ball is in there and he's playing the deep third. Then look at him coming down in the box. Look at that right there, man. That's picture per tackling. As we calling it the 901, that's bringing the wood from the hood. Mm-hmm. But my final words on Richie Grant out of Fort Walton Beach, dear to my heart. It's a song by one of the I'm going to consider the greatest musician ever. He had a song that said, "Don't come around here," period. The song was Beat It by the legend out of Gary, Indiana, Mr. Michael Jackson. Richie Grant is going to be coming around in the NFL headhunting 100 yards of football.
Yes, sir. If you liked our show, please comment, like, and share it. And make sure you subscribe to our show and listen to our podcast over anywhere you listen to podcasts at 100 Yards of Football. Well, for the entire team here, I am Jeremiah Long, the producer, and you've been listening to an amazing draft profile of Richie Grant out of Central Florida with the football legend himself and the football encyclopedia, Vincent Turner. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you again on another live show here on 100 Yards of Football very soon.